So why don't you tell us about your experience watching this past week's AEW Dynamite?
Oh my lord! So I
Just
get
a
back.
minute ago.
Well, I took a big walk, and I've just been dead today. And I made some dinner, and I made some dinner. It was right. It was right before the main event of SmackDown, which I was watching. It was right
Yeah.
before Matt Riddle or just Riddle and and Solo Satake. Is that it? So,
Sokoa.
Sokoa, Solo Sokoa. Yeah,
Satake.
yeah.
Solo Sake.
Yeah, Solo Sake, Solo Cup, Aaron Solo. And I had it on and I was sort of laying on the couch and my friend MB was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming over because Tony, my roommate, Tony and him are gonna watch the Braves game. Assume I'm gonna join them after this, my level of sleepiness permitting.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I just, dozed off and then I woke up and paused it as for a knock on the door. And there's a nice freeze frame that I guess could be, if we're gonna do a Foursquare, I guess we could have one of these where it says "You think I'm an idiot" on on the closed caption. It has Max just holding up the microphone, looking at Darby. So
You gotta love it.
yeah, so here I'm actually taking a picture of that right now.
Lovely.
Yeah, so if we're doing Foursquare, it'll be there.
Excellent. And I just got done sending this out. So shall we?
Let's go.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the Brain Buster Boys, episode 103. My name is Brett Jagger, along with my good friend, Beaumont Rand.
Hey, everybody. Hey, how's it going?
I can feel the energy in your voice right off the bat.
Oh boy. No, it's I had a big weekend, had a big weekend,
Big.
probably one of the bigger ones I've had. Like probably one of the stayed up till 4 a.m. Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday,
Oh, shit.
like double whammy
What did you do
weekends.
Friday again? Because obviously we were together Saturday, but I couldn't remember.
Teats.
Yeah, but were you just out at the bars or what?
No, yeah. I met Teats at fucking Big Bar.
Not talking about bad dude Tito, but your boy TT.
Teats.
Speaking of Teats, Tim King says, Teats, Mr. Nothing. Hello.
What's up, Tim King?
Mr. King. Hello.
Teats King.
Teats King, baby. Thanks for tuning in. We love you here. But yeah, we had ourselves a nice little Saturday celebrating our friend Shane's birthday.
Yes.
Did a little bar hopping around town. We both left our credit card at the last bar.
We did.
I just retrieved mine earlier today. But yeah, I've been moving a little slow, but we battled through last night, and the focus of this episode is largely going to be about Derby City Wrestling.
Well, I think there were stimuli all around us.
You are right about that.
Yeah, there's stimuli around us.
But just the second taping of Derby City Wrestling here in our collective home of Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Great time. We're going to get way more into that, but we powered through that, and we've both been slogging a little bit today, but excited to be here and talk about some more indie wrestling, which is I don't want to say niche, but becoming a little bit more of what we're all about here.
And like in a good variety of stuff. Like this one definitely has sort of a different flavor than what we've seen before. Like it's interesting. So
yeah, and again, we are going to dig deep into that here shortly, but before we really get in, and we're also going to talk about this past week's SmackDown, which I believe is the first here on the Brainbuster Boys that we've done like a full
all the way through,
episode of SmackDown. Reason being, I mean, you hadn't watched Dynamite yet as of last night, and we talked last time, which it's been like 2 weeks now. We had ourselves just a tiny little break, but with the success of WrestleMania. And, well, now who the hell knows what's going on with Vince, but, everything going on, and maybe we've got a little something cooking related to this, but we decided or thought, well, maybe we'll talk a little more WWE here on the show. We've been reviewing all the pay-per-views of late. So I gave you the choice initially, and you deflected back to me, and I'm like,
I did. Yeah. I mean, I think I was leaning more towards SmackDown.
Just for something different. And I mean, Dynamite, like the first hour was great, and then it really kind of fell off a cliff towards the end. But SmackDown, yeah, just a nice, solid show through and through. 3 really nice matches. And yeah, so we'll be talking about that and just a small little sprinkling of Dynamite since you passed out during it. But but before we dig in, it is all over the place. It's not necessarily something I want to talk too much about, but it's out there. It appears that CM Punk is making his return to AEW. Tim, if you're still watching, fuck you. No, I'm kidding. But again, I was completely over it. I guess I kind of had to think this was going to happen. A lot of money on the table. And don't get me wrong, before the brawl out, if you will, like Punk was in the ring, he was doing some great shit. Like the MJF feud was awesome. Hangman stuff aside, because a little biased, but the stuff he was doing with Mox was good. I know there's other shit, but like it was cool to see him back initially, and he ruined it all. But I'm not mad about this, of course.
Right.
I'm not happy about it because and he did what he did and just left a bad taste in my mouth. And, of course, people in the locker room. And, I'm going to side with the elite boys here, just being the mark that I am and being it all in and et cetera, et cetera. And Punk's just a prick. But it is interesting. And apparently it's going to coincide with their new Saturday night show, which is apparently going to be called Collision.
Was it Saturday night? I thought it was Saturday afternoon.
I believe it's going to be Saturday night.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I had speculated that maybe it would be, not really speculated, but kind of hoped it would be the morning.
Derby City Wrestling's time slot.
Yeah, well, I grew up on Saturday morning WCW, so anywho, sounds like they're going to have like a roster split, kind of how Raw and SmackDown is, and you'll have a Dynamite crew and a Collision crew. Again, this is all just
what's happening with Rampage? Is Rampage just going to be
it would still kind of just be what it is, its own vehicle to, kind of keep getting people out there. But it would definitely be the C show, no doubt about it.
Right. Yeah.
So again, none of this is official. It's all from the dirt sheets, if you will, but it's fascinating. That's for sure.
Yes.
What do you think about it all? The Saturday show, the separate rosters, CM Punk coming back. Are you excited at all?
Well,
what are your feelings?
I think in general, it seems like it's a win for all parts. Well, I guess I'll talk about it from the CM Punk perspective, but I think it's a win from both parties. You don't have that big break, and he gets to come back, and AEW gets to kind of not sweep it under the rug, but I mean, make bygones be bygones with it, or attempt to, So I know, obviously, hard feelings in terms of what happened, and in terms of the personnel involved, but it seems like, at least for them, they. I mean, I don't want to use the word dodged a bullet, but they took a punch,
yes.
And seem like that they're going to kind of survive this. And they're going to have story shit with it,
sure.
bake the fuck in, so that's obviously got to be exciting from a booking perspective. But yeah, it'll be weird, obviously we'll see how that kind of, meshes. And, I mean, if I had to pick sides and if I had to pick people I like to watch more, I like Kenny and the Bucks better than CM Punk and his, I mean, I guess he doesn't have any lackeys, but that whole thing, I kind of enjoy that sort of side of things more. I mean, I guess the now going to the roster split, that seems like it could be good for give people more time and stuff, and again create some storylines. But yeah, I mean, once again, it's an expansion, and AEW has been kind of in expansion mode, and we've called the roster bloated for a long time. So is this going to be sort of a bloated thing in terms of production? I mean, WWE has had that infrastructure for 20 years, so, and AEW's had it for less than 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see how that, goes,
Yeah. No, it's a good point you made about the bloating. And, if anything, this would help that because, you'd have 2 separate shows that are, I believe this is a 2-hour show. So it's not another 1 hour. So it's let's call it a flagship, if you will.
Yeah.
So again, you would have each of those 2 hours focused on that portion of the roster. So yeah, it's more television. It's twice the television time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think if anything, it helps. Are they going to be? I don't want to necessarily use the word oversaturated. I guess would be a better word. Like, is it too much content? Maybe. Like, Rampage already is not meaningless. There's some good shows, but there's a lot of misses on that show still.
Yeah. None of their big matches are on that.
Yeah. I mean, from time to time, they'll chuck stuff on there. And, I could, if I dug deep, I could find some. But yeah, like 75-80% of the time or more, the big television matches are happening on Dynamite. So it is interesting. And yeah, good call on like expansion, because that is definitely what this is. And I think the roster was too big, and that, that could be what prompted this. And
oh, sure. Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, in terms of Punk, like what's out there currently is that the Elite still have zero interest in working with him. Hence why this would be a split crew. Like you'd have the Elite crew and the Punk crew, and this Collision show would be built around Punk. The Elite would still stay on Dynamite.
And then they just have to coexist under the large tent.
And then at pay-per-views, you would have them together, of course, at the 4 a year. And, maybe they would add more. I guess 5, if you count Forbidden Door now, it seems is going to be an annual thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they add one more, make it 6. But, I mean, that's kind of how WWE's been. Well, I guess they used to have, like, Raw-only pay-per-views and SmackDown-only pay-per-views. And then for, like, the big 4, they would come together. So, yeah, it is. It's kind of the next phase of things here. If he is coming back, I think there's a huge missed opportunity if they never do anything with Punk and the Elite, because
that's like,
biggest stars in the company, and there's real shit. So sometimes the best on-screen stuff comes from real life stuff. But yeah, again, I'm kind of getting over the whole I hate Punk thing, because he was still one of my favorite wrestlers for a very long time, but just kind of was screwing up a good thing here. But again, I know who gives a fuck about ratings, but the thing is, CM Punk was a big ratings draw for them, and they were consistently close or at the million, viewers every week for Dynamite. Now they're more like 870, So again, I get it from that perspective. He was moving merchandise, he was helping the ratings. He is a fucking star, no doubt about it.
Yeah. I saw his action figure in Walmart today, actually. Yeah. No, I did see that. Yeah, I think his was like pretty upfront, because they had the 2 racks of the WWE and 2 racks of the AEW.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's still there. And
yeah. So we'll see. I guess it's the Dynamite before Forbidden Door, which is like late June. We got a comment here. Dane Becker, hello. Wanted to stop in and thank you guys for coming out last night to our DCW show. Hope to see you guys come out again next month. Sincerely. Thank you, Dane, for tuning in. Yeah. Yes, we are definitely planning on coming back.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah,
we loved it, and we are about to talk about it pretty extensively here shortly. So appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, just to put a bow on this, it's supposed to occur allegedly at the final Dynamite before Forbidden Door in late June, which is in Chicago. So again, capitalizing on that Chicago crowd. It's all, it'll be a big deal. Even though everyone kind of knows it's coming, it's going to be a big deal. I'll get over it, I'm sure, as long as the product still stays good, which, they had that bit of a lull after All Out, but, Full Gear was great, and everything since has been pretty damn solid. So, we'll see. But it's going to be interesting to see if and when, he and the Elite mix it up, because FTR said on Instagram or something, or may have even been Dax's podcast specifically, that FTR and CM Punk versus the Elite at Wembley Stadium would be a big match. So
exactly,
that's out there now. So who knows? I mean, it could be done. I don't know. But now we're just dealing with too much speculation. So
that's fun speculation, though.
It is.
I mean, like, it is. And I think that's what AEW needs, is that kind of fun, kind of hype up speculation, talk about it. I mean, I guess they're doing, replacing All Out with All In, right? With the second All In.
Apparently, they're still going to do All Out.
Really? Are they?
Which would be like the next week.
Oh
So
wow! Like so they're gonna
again,
just do
not official, but someone on Twitter, I think it was a wrestler. Like
would it be
It
like
might
an
have been Anthony Bowens. Like someone had asked, like, "Oh, with All In, is All Out not happening?" And he said, "No, it is." So again, we shall see. But yeah, big things coming with. I mean, Double or Nothing. We'll roll right into Forbidden Door, and then I guess it'll be 2 months, but All In end of August. So yeah, it's gonna be a great and interesting summer for AEW.
It will be, yeah. I mean, like this is definitely a interesting shot in the arm. We'll see how it goes, see how it enters their bloodstream and stuff. Dane Becker, thank you again, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, we had a big blast as we're about to go into here shortly. So or now.
Yeah, and I guess
Yeah.
yeah, let's just springboard right in. So
Going.
yes, we last night attended Derby City Wrestling here at the Norton Sports and Learning Complex.
I kept forgetting what it was. It's a bit of a mouthful,
Yeah,
like the name is. It's a cool name though.
like west of downtown here in Louisville.
Yeah. In Port, I
Huge
believe.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, I believe it's in Portland proper.
Oh, the
Or
Portland neighborhood.
the
Yes.
Portland neighborhood. Yeah.
Yes, very
Mhm.
big building, but an excellent venue for wrestling. And
Yeah. I mean,
this was, so again, don't want to be comparing too much to other indie shows we've been to because this was definitely, it's a television show, so it's
mhm,
gonna be a
yeah,
step up in terms of production and whatnot from some of the other
sure.
indies, but just kind of what'd you think? So now we've been to three together. We went to the one in Milwaukee in the back of a Mexican restaurant, which was tight.
Yeah.
We've been to Wrestle Arts now twice at the Irving Theater, which,
Yes.
seems more of like a music venue type space.
Oh, it
And,
totally is.
and then
Especially
this,
speaking to my boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, the big Houndmouth fan.
yes,
The big Mad
exactly.
Shane guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we should have mentioned that this
Yeah, we
weekend.
should
But,
have. Yeah.
and then this was in seemingly a large indoor track facility.
Yeah, it seems like that what it's for because it was way too big for basketball, and
Yeah.
those bleachers don't come out
Yeah,
far
we
enough.
got in
So
there. We're like, geez, this is huge.
yeah, like literally arena football could be played in there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, basketball. Like I kind of realized I'm like, there's enough basketball facilities here, like high schools, Freedom Hall, Knights Hall, Broadbent Arena, good old places like that, and the Center, obviously. So like, I totally get why it's not used for basketball, but yeah, big indoor and track facility that, according to Colton, was built during COVID,
Yes.
and that just kind of was not used up until the
Recently,
past year.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that said, this is the perfect venue for something like this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It is like like it definitely is like not in a neighborhood that I'm in a lot,
No.
but yeah, like it's a pretty great place. It's got like
Very easy highway access.
yeah, very easy highway access. And like when you go in there, it's like they had a normal concession stand, then they also had a grab and go,
Yeah.
like you would see at the fucking Reds, like
There's also like a Thornton's attached to the building on the other side, like where I came
really?
in. Yeah, it's like
Like you
part
can
of
get
the
gas?
building. No, like
Oh.
like a convenience store. But yeah.
I gotcha. Cool.
But anyway,
Yeah.
very unique. And yeah, the ring and like the whole wrestling setup was what? A quarter of the space?
Yeah, it was in the essentially like back. I mean, if you're facing it from where we walked in, it's in the back right corner,
Yeah.
and we were only like up against one section of the bleachers, and there were three sets, or it was sort of surrounded on three sides by set up chairs and stuff.
Yeah. Pretty,
Which
I
like
mean, a big
which
crowd for sure,
which I was glad we were in the bleachers. The bleachers
Yeah.
were where it was at, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
big crowd, lively crowd, and especially around we were sitting in the bleachers.
Yes,
You're
yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah. And just kind of another like thing about this was I sort of made the comparison. This sort of was like I could tell that there was like infrastructure and some sort of like an apparatus there, like like somebody tapped into a vein of like wrestling interest that already existed and built this thing up around it.
Yeah.
Like this is what it felt like. It felt like it wasn't just some sort of like grassroots thing, but it was rather like like something that was sort of built up around like a significant wrestling interest that was already there. It like capitalized on something, and like this is the second show, and there are people there just losing their minds.
Yeah.
So like it definitely had to feel like like it capitalized on, an interest that was already there, and I thought like, with like you're saying, the whole TV perspective and stuff and the production quality. I mean, it was, like it was extremely well done. It was impressive.
It didn't feel like an indie show at all.
No, it did not. It felt like, a showcase of, just kind of, I mean, there were AEW people there, there were former Impact people there, people we had seen, like half the people there, I feel like I had seen before or I've heard you talk about.
Yeah. And I mean, there were maybe 2 matches where I didn't know either of the wrestlers, which again, for an indie show, it's usually a lot of people you've never heard of.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a good roster of folks here, which again, we're not going to go through the results because I kind of thought about this like late in the show because this is taped for television. So what we all just saw won't even air for like at least a couple of weeks, and it'll probably be like 3 or 4 different shows.
Yeah.
So for anyone in the Louisville area or, whatever, we don't want to be in the business of spoiling here, but we are going to talk about each of the matches and the competitors we saw and just kind of talk about the experience we had. Cause like Bo said, it was a very fun crowd around us. No doubt about it.
Big time.
And yeah, just a very, very fun matches all night. It definitely went by pretty quickly. I think we got out of there like 2.5 hours from start of show to
I would say so. Yeah. It started like at 6. We were out of there by like, 8:30, something like that.
But yeah, so, and in terms of like the backing of this, so David Marquez, who I first knew from being the interviewer in NWA, always thought he was awesome. Just a classy guy, always wearing a tux as he was yesterday. Great interviewer.
Yeah. Good host, kind of how he like dealt with the crowd and stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
Very natural.
He's the guy who runs it. And I mentioned along with Ace Steel, who, speaking of the brawl out, was a part of that and ended up being dismissed from AEW after that. But obviously he's been around the business for a long time and a great mind in the business. So a good guy to have on board. But what I didn't know is it's part of what's called the United Wrestling Network, which we found out yesterday, which is a sanctioning body that I guess it's this and like 3 other promotions. I think they're mostly in like LA because Marquez even referenced the crowd in LA and telling them how the crowd in Louisville was better. So that definitely makes more sense. And you had also asked about like champions and belts. So there are United Wrestling champions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
One of them is Danny Limelight, who was our first wrestler. Or was he the first? Yeah,
First wrestler, second total.
Yes, first wrestler we interviewed, a couple summers ago, I guess?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, it was like May 2021.
Wow. Yes. But because he was at the first Derby City show, and he is one of like the United Wrestling Network champions. So
correct, yeah.
Makes sense. So, because we were like, they don't have belts yet, but that makes sense. So who knows? Maybe there will be like a Derby City wrestling champion specifically for here at some point. But
or looking at this as sort of like an individual show within that larger umbrella.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. So yeah, and it's like kind of good that like whenever the belts like actually come in, the stakes are kind of like all of a sudden really high. I think that could be just sort of an interesting take on that because I mean like it's not like I even needed them. I just kind of enjoyed the matches and just sort of what was put in front of me.
Yeah.
Yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah, and there were we noticed this about like probably halfway through or more that there had been like very few or no promos. So then we thought, they probably pre-tape them kind of how we did for Wrestle Arts, which, when we were doing our interviews as part of that show, they literally pulled us out, in the midst of the show to get more content. So clearly they're doing some, backstage stuff at different times. But then later on, we did have what his name was, Dylan Bostic, had a nice in-ring heel promo. And then the interview with Pretty Peter Avalon, which was classic. But yeah, so it was mostly straight up wrestling. Because it's their second show, you can tell they're still working the kinks out a little bit. There were multiple times where like they would start someone's music and stop. And, just obviously that's stuff they're going to get better at as this keeps
Well,
going.
I
But
kept wondering if it was like TV pauses, because
yeah.
the one group that I kept watching was that group that was by the control panel,
Yep.
or I mean, I guess it's,
Like
a
the
very
sound booth.
simplified word for it. Yeah, they were there, and I saw like, people making like signals and stuff. So I was just kind of like wondering if it was sort of like these different like TV pauses just for, camera angles or to get this and that right,
Yeah.
as somebody who's not super familiar with the behind the scenes wrestling TV production, that was sort of at least what my mind filled in the gaps with.
Yeah, for
But yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
But no, by and large, just a great time. The crowd was very engaged throughout.
Very,
Um,
very,
so let's
yeah,
just, I mean, anything else just about the show in general, the production. I mean, it was the lighting was awesome.
yeah,
Obviously you could tell they had a guy shooting up on like a riser as well. So, this was a television product,
yeah,
unlike the majority of indie shows that you'll go to.
yeah.
So this just had obviously just a bigger, more polished feel,
It
you
did,
know.
yeah. Well, most of the indie shows I've been to, that like the crowd can get like really into it, and like which like I'm like especially for the Milwaukee indie show,
Yeah, that was you.
subject number, yeah, that was totally me. There was our Hoodfoot girl, last Wrestle Arts. So like, yeah, people can like get really like be sort of right there, but this they had like the barricades and stuff. Yeah, like I said, this was sort of, yeah, again, a step in the direction of television. Yeah, you could just tell, and especially from their second show, polished
Yeah.
is a great thing,
I'll be
and like,
curious to see what it looks like on TV. Like,
yeah,
just like view it, we were obviously there, but just to view what it looks like on TV. I think it's Saturdays at noon. So
mhm,
we'll definitely have to give one of these a watch and
mhm.
probably see ourselves at some point because we were
Oh yeah,
on
we
the
were right in the,
opposite side of the hard cam, but pretty much dead center. Like,
yeah.
so, like you said, in the bleachers that were behind those seats. But I mean, 200 plus people at this thing, probably, I would
Yeah,
think, right?
yeah, I would think so. Yeah, just kind of considering that, and just the people who are just kind of there beside us. Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
200
yeah, it
approximately.
was a good crowd. So yeah, let's just kind of get into it. I think I've got here. Let me pull up. I wrote down all the matches because I knew they weren't all listed. So yeah, we had 10 matches, and again, we're not gonna talk results, but just talk about the competitors, what we liked, etc., etc. Started it off with a tag team match, technical difficulties versus Audacity. Audacity had a guy, it was Omega and Carson Drake, I believe. And
Mhm.
Omega, definitely the fan favorite. A lot of local guys, a lot of Louisville, some Lexington, some Cincinnati, some Columbus.
Yeah,
I believe one of these teams was from the Louisville or Kentucky area. I know
right.
Carson Drake had been in Cincy wrestling. That was a name I was aware of, but I would say Omega, definitely the fan favorite here, definitely got the
Oh
crowd going.
yeah, no, he definitely did. Yeah, for Audacity for sure. The other guys played like pretty good heels too. On
Yeah.
top of that, yeah, like and like I said, everybody was like just pretty on point too, especially with the guys playing heels. Like when you had hometown people, yeah, like all fun stuff.
Yeah, and technical difficulties had some nice bright attire.
They did.
Audacity, our guy Drake had the megaphone that he wasn't using, and I'm like, you got to use the megaphone, not to cheat, but just to talk. But he
Mm-hmm.
did finally do it after the match.
Yeah.
Omega, a short guy but very stout, dressed like a boxer, barefoot, and again, like just really brought the energy. But yeah, it was a fun opener for sure. Pretty quick, but definitely one that got the crowd going. And again, we've been talking about the crowd, but why don't you tell us what was it like, kind of being smack dab? The bleachers specifically were from what, and again, it's where we were, but felt more rambunctious than the
Oh
floor.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like you had two things. You had kids that were just kind of
A
doing
lot of
whatever. A
kids,
lot
but
of
a
kids.
lot of kids having fun, but just constant motion.
Yeah, yeah, constant just moving around everywhere. My favorite was the girl in the tutu in front of us
Oh,
who was like playing with her iPad and then just spinning
just
around.
twirling,
Yeah,
having the
just twirling.
time of her
Yeah,
life.
but then like the adults, like,
Yeah.
like there was just like constant, like just from around us, just And it was different people at different times,
Just yelling.
It peaked during the Jake something match.
Yeah.
Like I would say so, but
Which
yeah,
was
just
a great fucking match.
yeah. With like yelling at the crowd and stuff, or yelling
So
in
we
the ring
had
and
like
stuff. Yeah.
the older gentlemen behind us, which were kind of the first ones that we were
Well, he
engaging
was a
with.
big fan of Littlefoot, right? Or was
Yeah.
yeah.
Alexis Littlefoot, who was in
Alexis
the
Littlefoot.
second match and
Yeah,
was
he
I
loved her.
also, I believe,
Had a sign,
yeah, I
Yeah.
believe local to Louisville. I'm pretty sure
Lexington, I believe.
Lexington. Okay, I knew
Yeah.
she was Kentucky. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, the few like older guys behind us to the left who were great. And they had some kids with them, and then it was the guys to our right he was the one that had the sign, and he was just chirping the whole time. And he started at the ref, and he was giving me energy, and he knew wrestling, no doubt. So he and I were definitely having a great time.
I remember at one point, Alexis Littlefoot like somehow like got her like in the hold, like getting ready to do a suplex, and he was like, "Ooh, that's it."
Yeah.
Like, "Ooh, that's it."
Yep.
Just...
And I was building off of his energy. Yeah, it was great. And then of course, Lamar Jackson lady, all decked out in her awesome Baltimore Ravens coat.
Which she should be happy because apparently Lamar Jackson got a huge, gigantic deal or potential deal, according to what was it, Ian Rappaport,
Oh,
$200
really?
million guarantee to stay with Baltimore. So
I mean, it was seemingly trending that direction, but I hadn't seen that news yet. But
yeah, so sorry for that to say, but yeah, I'm sure she'd be happy about that.
She was the star of the show, and in fact, at the
end,
when they were kind of giving out like signed pictures for like fan of the night, like
we were
just like pointing right at her, and again, she was loud and lively, and I want to say all of this was like respectful within the show. This was not like Hoodfoot lady at Wrestle Arts where it was like getting personal. This was all everyone's here having a great time and interacting.
Yeah, it was exactly what it needed to be, like, and like to go back, like, like this environment, like, I feel like they just, there was interest here and they just like plopped this ring here. And then, if it very much like Field of Dreams shit, like if you build it, they will come, and yeah, like, I think it was just pretty perfect for the night, I think. But I will say that she did give fan of the night to the woman in front of her.
I know.
Yes, the woman in front of her gave the picture. So like another awesome thing on her to kind of like, because, I remember at some point after she was on, she had like her daughter, granddaughter, niece, something like that. And the little girl was just like hanging out there. And I think she gave it to the woman in front of her. So just what a pretty cool person all around, gotta say.
But she was just lively and chirping, and it was just the crowd was great, and I felt like where we plop dab where we were was like the hottest part of the crowd.
It was, yeah.
But just good stuff. So you had mentioned Alexis Littlefoot, who was in match number 2 against Allison Kay, who's also Sienna. Longtime Impact NWA. I'm sure she's done Ring of Honor. She's been in AEW. She's been around a long time. But the crowd very, very hot again for Alexis. You mentioned the guy who had his sign. Again, local from Kentucky. So just like right out of the gate, just excellent action, hot crowd, and these two matches really set the tone for the rest of the night.
They did, yeah. I mean, their card like definitely, had some good matches. I had like 2 big ones at the end. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty hot early on, I have to say. Like their first 3 or 4.
And speaking of really hot, the third match, which was easily the match of the night and went on my spreadsheet for matches at 4+ stars, and that is Lord Crew versus Jake something. Lord Crew, a Cincinnati guy. I know I'd seen him at, I believe, NWF up there, Northern Wrestling Federation. I'd been to a couple shows. It's been a while.
And he's with Aaron Williams, right?
He was accompanied by the dead ringer Aaron Williams, also from Cincinnati, who main evented the Wrestle Arts show we were at earlier this month. Yeah, just a few weeks ago against Nick Aldis. He was also in the main event here tonight against Willie Mack, but he was doing some great work here. As in the kind of manager type role here, really just right off the bat, he was kind of chirping with the crowd and being like, that was 2. But he was very active with the crowd, and You know what? I'm just going to go right out and say it. We actually just got a interview confirmation from old Aaron Williams, the dead ringer. Very cool that we've seen him. He's main evented both of the last 2 shows we've been to. An indie stalwart here in the Midwest and really all around. But very excited to be talking to him.
Yeah. Does really great work in the ring,
Yeah, both as a wrestler, but we had never really seen him as like a manager or sidekick role, and he definitely killed it. And it just added to the match here, which was, the term is, or the phrase is overused these days, but it was big meaty men slapping meat. And there were multiple times where these two, Crew and Jake something, just collided hard as shit in the middle of the ring. A lot of just bludgeoning of each other. This was a big boy match, and I loved every second of it. And you had Aaron Williams, that bastard, getting involved in the finish and actually
with this big skull cane.
Yeah. And what did the guy behind us say? He's dressed like a jockey. And then I think the crowd was saying like, you play polo? Remember, we couldn't really tell, but like he had the stick. Someone mentioned the jockey thing. At least to me, that's what I thought they said. And it's the Derby City. So,
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, great heel work from him and Lord Crew with what I would call a bit of an upset, just given that, Jake something's a little bit more of an established name. But hats off to Lord Crew. I mean, if I'd seen him wrestle, it was a while ago and I didn't really remember, but he brought it. And, we've seen Jake something. I mentioned this was the 3rd time you and I had seen him, the first being that Milwaukee indie show, and then Impact Sacrifice last year in Louisville, and now this. The guy's just a fucking beast.
Yeah, he's a big old guy.
Love watching him work every time, but Crew was right there with him, matched it, matched the intensity, matched the hard-hittedness, if you will, and again, the crowd was hot. Like you said, this was like, it was not the peak of the show, even though it was the best match. But like in terms of crowd hotness, many near falls down the stretch, big moves, like I said. And our girl just, come on, Jake, shit. Oh man!
What was the match? Was this match after that with the boys?
Yes.
Was the boys was after? Okay, yeah. She had some stuff for the boys too.
Yeah, but what'd you think of this? I guess we did give away the finish. Shit! Oops. Got carried away talking about our boy Aaron Williams and how great of a job he did, but yeah, we won't do that again. We can edit that out of the audio version if we want, but we don't need to really. But what'd you think of that match? I mean, would you agree match of the night for sure?
Yeah. No, I thought it was super exciting. I mean, it just, had like, people ringside, like action out of the ring, it was just, like it was very professional. I thought, would be a good word. It would be a good word to describe it. It just looked like something you would see just on a TV wrestling match, it was, and it was interesting because it was like, what, the 3rd match of the night you said?
Yeah.
But it felt like, it was sort of the like kind of the centerpiece,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And, we'd kind of like thought, oh, there's probably going to be an intermission, but there was not.
And they blew right through it.
Didn't really need it. I mean, there was one match where we went to go get a drink, but it never did this feel dragged out or long or anything. No. But yeah, hats off to Crew something and Aaron Williams for putting on one of the best matches I've seen in indie wrestling. Another one earlier this year I do want to shout out. It was the Dragons versus Fundamental Violence from Wrestle Arts 7. Those would be the top 2 for me. Maybe ever. I mean, I've only been to probably like a handful of different like indie shows, but anywho, wanted to give those guys some love. But yes, you mentioned it. Next was Brent and Brandon, the boys, who often are alongside Dalton Castle, against the Infantry, Captain Sean Dean and Carly Bravo, who've been very active on Ring of Honor lately. Sean Dean's, been in AEW for a long time. So again, these are 4 guys that are on TV all the time, that, you can see every week. And again, it showed. This was a very, very fun match for sure. And again, crowd participation was very high here, but just very entertaining stuff from beginning to end right here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, once again, like just a really exciting, like high energy tag team match to just follow this up. And something that again just looked the part.
Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Pretty fast paced. Because none of these are all kind of smaller guys, especially the boys. So fast paced, good teamwork, some flying going on. I'm not gonna tell you who won. Not again.
I will tell you that our Baltimore Ravens friend was ripping on the one guy with like a man bun, but she referred to it as a
I can't
ponytail.
remember if it's Brandon or Brent, but
and she had a ponytail. Like it was the best thing ever.
And our guy behind me, he was getting on. I think it was Bravo.
Yeah.
Excuse me, or we both were for not tagging out. He was in there for very long. So again, we were hyped. We were having fun.
And good also shout out to the guy in front of us too, who had seen wrestling shows at the Louisville Gardens. He seemed like a really cool guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It said in the 80s.
In the 80s. Yeah. So he'd been around for a while.
Yeah. But yeah, just good, good people all around us. We were talking to everyone. Again, can't stress it enough. Everyone was having a great time. Which it's been like that at Wrestle Arts in Milwaukee. Like that's kind of a theme, indie wrestling shows are just a fucking blast. You're directly part of it more so. It's they're just great. If you've never gone, fucking go.
Yeah, they
come with us. Come to Derby City Wrestling. Come to Wrestle Arts because those are both that we are planning to go to henceforth. I'm sure we'll hit up some Ohio Valley wrestling too. So
yeah, I reckon so.
Shit. Next up, so these were two guys I was unfamiliar with. We had Rocco Bellagio and Garrison Creed. Started a little slow, but definitely towards the end, it got a little more exciting. Rocco's a fucking big dude.
Yeah.
Creed, I think he was known as the Mercenary, had some painted face action. But yeah, once this one got going, I enjoyed it, but just took a little bit to get there. But Rocco was definitely a stout individual, and I really enjoyed his selling throughout.
Yeah, he had some really good selling. No, he was very sort of classic, like T-Tit era.
It felt like old school looking guy for sure.
Old school looking guy, just with the kind of hit all his motions and stuff. But no, I'm it did take a little bit to get going. And again, this was definitely a big change of pace because it was a slower match.
Yeah.
Than the last two.
The first four were all pretty high pace, but really those last two especially really got it going. But
yeah, I think this one kind of it took a minute, but it earned its spot. I enjoyed it. But yeah, and Rocco, I think also just like a good classic wrestler.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that he had the crowd on his side for sure because he was again another one.
Like, he celebrated. He was giving those kids the hardest high fives I've ever seen anyone give a kid ever.
Because we couldn't exactly hear what the ring announcer had said, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure his trunks say Rocco, and then the crowd, you could hear the crowd, Rocco. So,
I knew Rocco. The last name, could have been Bellagio.
We had to look it up.
It could have been Modern Life,
Bellagio, the Mirage, the MGM Grand, who knows? But So next we had AEW Zone. I believe he's been there since day one. Pretty Peter Avalon going up against, I know this was another local. I can't remember if it was Louisville or Lexington, but prime time Bobby Walker. Big fan favorite here for sure. Avalon definitely playing the heel and playing it very well. But yeah, Walker definitely looked good. Had never seen him before, but he had the look, tall, long blonde hair, bright orange gear, and what seemingly looked like a glow stick, like an orange glow stick. I'm like, look at that choker, and you're like, looks like a glow stick.
Yeah, it looks like someone threw out a glow stick at Forecastle and he put it on.
But it perfectly matched his attire.
It did.
But yeah, this was very fun for sure. I mean, obviously Avalon, definitely one of the bigger names here for sure. Really sinking into the heel gimmick. And, it was cool seeing him because he's not someone that gets, hardly any time on Dynamite. He's definitely more of a dark and elevation guy, but it was cool seeing him here and really just, you could tell he's just really having a good time in this role. And definitely a fun match here.
Yeah, no, it was definitely was a really good time, and Avalon is having a good time, so he's a AEW original and stuff. And like you could tell just kind of like by just sort of his ring awareness and just technicality and execution, he was really good, especially with that finish. We won't spoil the finish, but it was a very good very interesting finish.
It was a good finish. And yeah, hats off to Walker as well. I'm sure that's a guy that I'm sure will be more involved here in Derby City, but I liked what I saw.
Yeah.
And more to come from Avalon. He had a very fun interview with old David Marquez later on. But so the next match is when we got up to get drinks, but it started as Damian Chambers versus Mickey Midas. We got up, and probably within 2 minutes, we hear the bell going nuts. Ding, 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 ding. It keeps going, ding, 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 which could only mean one thing. There was an attack, a run-in, because anytime the bell just doesn't stop, someone's getting their ass beat.
Yep.
And then in classic Teddy Long fashion, we're going to have ourselves a tag team match. They made it a tag match. I'm sorry, I don't know who the other two guys were because we missed that, but the one who joined Mickey Midas had that blue flannel. He looked pretty cool. And the other was the guy in the bright green who had initially come out with Chambers. But yeah, don't really have too much to say about this because we missed a lot of it. But yeah. So 3 more matches
I'll have
here.
to catch it on TV.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Number 8, we had Big Mama against Marty Bell. I had mistakenly thought that Billy Starks was wrestling Marty Bell, but that was at the previous taping, which I think that episode had just aired.
And Marty Bell beat her, didn't she?
Yeah.
According to Marty Bell.
Yeah. But Marty Bell, been around NWA a lot. Recently, actually, I think it was her and Allison Kay had wrestled in Impact. I think they may have challenged for the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, but someone I'm definitely very familiar with, has seen. And this was certainly a clash of size and styles here.
Oh, yeah, big time. And the people around us let us know that. It did. Yeah. Big, like Big Mama was a lot of fun, but yeah, Big Mama got some flack from the audience, baby.
Yeah, but Big Mama definitely went to work for sure.
And this was definitely a clash of styles, but and it wasn't given like an insane amount of time or anything.
No,
but it definitely had like a nice sort of like back and forth and ebb and flow. Like when Big Mama was given her offense, I mean, she made the most of it.
And again, the crowd was interested. I think
this was a big kids match.
Yes, you had said it. Like, you see a woman the size of Big Mama in a wrestling. She's rare for that size. You've got your Nia Jaxes, your Dewdrops, your Nyla Rose. I mean, there's a lot of bigger women in wrestling, but it's more rare than not. So it was and you mentioned it, like the kids are loving it because it is more spectacle. She's a large woman and beating some ass.
Yeah, and at this point, a lot of the crowd, like there was a chunk of the crowd that had left because I think it was like school night or some shit.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I remember, like like that sort of like helped elevate just a bunch of the kids who were there, and the kids like really got kind of hooked into this match, I thought.
For sure. So the penultimate match was, we mentioned him earlier, Dylan Bostic, who cut a nice long heel promo before the match talking about his win at the previous show, I believe over the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro. But he faced, we thought the name was Brett Reeves, but again, we couldn't really understand it.
Yeah, I mean, he was there for one reason.
Let's just say the match didn't go too long, but Bostic was impressive on the microphone, especially. He got kind of that shit-eating heel look to him. Like I mentioned, he reminded me of Logan Paul a little bit, just the way just his look, and he had like that blondish hair. But he definitely seems to be a guy that's going to be in the mix here. As a heel, he can definitely talk. So yeah, kudos to Mr. Bostic, and looking forward to seeing more of him.
No, you definitely, like, in terms of like heat, this time, in terms of talking, like this is sort of the one bit. So I think this is going to be a good starting point for them. For just heels and just talking and stuff. It seems like this guy has really got it.
Yep. And speaking of heels talking, we had David Marquez interviewing Pretty Peter Avalon. And don't want to get too into it, but let's just say Avalon lost some money in the previous show, and he was trying nefarious means as a way to pay this $10,000 to the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. And it turned into a very funny interview with Marquez that I really enjoyed. Both Marquez, like as the interviewer, I thought was amazing, and then of course Avalon really playing into it as the asshole shithead heel.
Well, it was neat too, just because I feel like Marquez also played like the role of like establishment person.
Yeah,
Which like for interviewers they're usually neutral, and he kind of like had his own side to it.
yes, for sure.
Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. I like
Yeah,
that.
very, very fun stuff. And that led to the main event, which was Willie Mack against the dead ringer Aaron Williams. Another one, a bit of a slower start, given it was the main event. We knew it was going to get some time, but once it got cooking, the crowd was really into this. Willie Mack was great. Dead ringer Aaron Williams, great yet again. You had not seen Willie Mack.
No, I'm not.
What'd you think?
Oh man, he was just a big old dude, man.
Big man that can move very well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, like definitely just had some just very slippery, like really great speed. And I thought he was great.
And Williams again, as the match goes on, slowly loses that tie and starts unbuttoning that shirt a little bit. And I know you pointed that out.
Oh, he always does. He always like kind of like the tie goes and then like the shirt gets unbuttoned. I think in Wrestle Arts he had the whole thing plumb off.
I think so. Plumb right off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, another one again. Great crowd energy. Great way to close the night.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to both guys and really everyone and the whole crew and the whole production. It was awesome. Crowd awesome. Shout out to our boy Colton. You mentioned him earlier. He does the Ring of Honor show every Thursday night on the Turnbuckle Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Good seeing him and his boys. I believe Richard and Doug were their names.
Yep, that's them.
Good dudes. Great to meet them. Hopefully see them again at future shows. I'm not going to spoil the match that was announced for the next one because, no need to. But an exciting match that was announced for the next show, which will be May 28th.
Yeah.
Which is Memorial Day weekend. But as of now, we're going to plan on going unless something else comes up. But any final thoughts on the old DC dub?
No, I mean, I thought it was just a great way to spend a Sunday night. I'm just kind of glad we got the opportunity to go, and just glad we got the in, and I would love to go back.
Yeah, great way of putting it. It was a great way to spend a Sunday night. Very, very fun stuff, and credit to all there involved. And thanks again to Dane Becker for tuning in. You better believe we'll be hitting you up.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a new ad for this week?
Yeah, we do. Hang on one second.
You are okay, man.
Yeah, that means
because we did the Easter one last time, right?
Yeah, I think it's tax day.
Ah, yes, which is tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Which I'll be getting mine finished tomorrow.
Well,
they've been done. That just needs.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a tax season and there's an NFL draft one.
Let's do tax because the draft isn't for another. It's next week.
Yeah.
So
here I'm
tax day is tomorrow.
If I post it in the comment, do you think can you get it? Would that even work?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Here, I'll just email it to you then.
Sure didn't.
Yeah.
Speaking of draft, I am going back home and working it all for the Bengals. So
that'll be exciting. When is that again?
It's next Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Next Thursday, Friday. So gotcha. Yeah, I'm actually going to Neil Francis, who's this. I don't know. He does this sort of like New Orleans jazz style stuff. My cousins are a big fan of him.
I'm familiar.
Yeah. They want to go down to Nashville for it on that Friday, so I think I'm going to hop along with them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So be that second round of it.
I've got this. It is pulling up. Yes.
Yeah. Apparently, Drew he had sent an email today that said they made some sort of a correction on this, and I think it's already been corrected. Let me see. Okay, so no, never mind. Yeah, we just go with our individual code for this.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, Gentlemen, if you didn't already know, it's tax season here in the U.S. You know what that means? It means that Manscaped is here to make sure your paperwork is done and your boys downstairs are having fun. Make sure you spend your tax return money on the important things this year, like family, friends, and ball deodorant. Join the 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code BBB. Tell them more, buddy.
Don't let overlong pubic hair tax your sex. What better way to invest your tax return than into yourself? I mean, that's really true.
It really is.
I feel like, if you don't got like kids going on, I feel like that's, the smart. I mean, Manscaped does have the full package from head to toe to make sure you get your money's worth this April. Performance Package 4.0 Classic, the ultimate bundle. You need to reinvent yourself and your confidence. The star of the show, Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, offering a precise shave on all your wildest edges, equipped with an LED light. You can navigate in and out of those difficult areas with ease. And did we mention it's waterproof as well? Yes, we did in every other episode that we've had. More exciting news. The Performance Package 4.0 includes Manscaped. Brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. This bad boy has been totally revamped with a new and improved blade and motor. And dare I say, is the best ear/nose trimmer ever. Probably. Yeah. Cordless, rechargeable, comes with skin-safe technology that helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs. And after clearing your nose, make sure to get rid of that foul ball smell with a crop preserver.
The FPS.
Yeah, the FPS. Oh, man.
Not the football ball subdivision, that foul ball smell.
Yeah. The football crop subdivision, the FCS, yes. The crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, the crop reviver spray on toner for your balls. Keep your boys from sticking to your leg and leave them feeling brand new. And for all the guys out there with a little scruff, Manscaped has the stuff. Beard products, the whole package. Wow. Their brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit is the head honcho for your concho, containing 9+ products plus wet goods. This is everything you need to craft your signature look. And this start of spring also marks the start of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Yes, Manscaped sponsored with the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. So if there's any reason you would like to, buy Manscaped products for anything, I mean, it's this. A great cause, I have to say. But with all great causes, there's a call to action. So hit it.
You're right. And that is get 20% off and free shipping with the code BBB at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code BBB at manscaped.com. Don't just get your money back this year. Get your swagger back too with Manscaped. And you know what? I guarantee your balls will thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and then along with that guarantee is probably you're welcome, or at least an appreciation.
Yes. World Wrestling Entertainment Friday Night SmackDown for the first time here on this program.
Full blown. Well, also, did you know that they're coming to Louisville in August?
Yes. I'm sure we will likely. Do you know what the date is?
I just saw August.
Figure it out.
So,
I'm sure we'll probably be there, barring anything unexpected. Back at the Yum Center, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, yes, this edition was live on Friday, April 14th from Lincoln, Nebraska, the Pinnacle Bank Center. Shout out to our boy, Popeye Danberger.
Yeah.
He's from there.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Anywho, so like we said earlier, you hadn't watched Dynamite yet. We kind of talked about maybe doing a little more WWE of late. And it's going to be tied with something we got cooking from a narrative perspective here in the near future. Yes. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I believe this is the first full SmackDown review discussion, whatever you want to say, on this show. So what did you think about SmackDown just as a whole this past week?
No, I thought it was...
Well, but before that, have you seen any? You haven't really seen any WWE programming since WrestleMania, right?
No, I have not.
Okay.
And obviously the Usos and Sami Zayn and all that were pretty center stage in all this. But yeah, SmackDown, just has just a much more just tight, just well paced thing. I know Raw's like 3 hours. And the last time I haven't watched it really too much in the Triple H era, but
it's been mostly pretty good, honestly.
Yeah. And no, I thought this was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think like it didn't linger too much on just replays and promos and things of WWE in the past that just kind of, loses my attention. I thought it was quite captivating the whole time.
Yeah, I had mentioned like Dynamite was a good show, but mostly front loaded. This was pretty damn solid throughout. Excuse me, but yeah, let's run through it. We had was the opener. We had promos first. Yes, so sorry. First, we had Sammy and KO. Like you said, it's still cooking with the bloodline here. Matt Riddle is now back and involved. I love the continuity because Solo Sikoa, or what did you call him earlier?
Solo Satake.
Satake.
Which I believe, I think Satake, I think he might be like the former BYU football coach. I think it was something Satake. Yeah. I looked up Satake, and yeah, Kalane Satake, the current head coach of BYU. They didn't get him yet.
So Solo Satake had taken out Matt Riddle back in December so he could go to rehab. But I love the continuity with that, getting him right back into this storyline. I know our friend Matt Ridder does not like Matt Riddle, but we do here. And I'm happy to see him back for sure. And yeah, this was really just kind of setting up what's to come, which we do end up learning later on when the rematch is going to happen. But yeah, just a nice promo to start. It's kind of the theme here is, Jey Uso lying, according to Sami Zayn. I think he said something about like, I can't remember how. Like if only I could do anything as good as you're good at lying. God, I fucked that up so bad. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Called him a liar. Liar pants on fire.
Oh, and they mentioned that to KO, hey, Sammy backstabbed us. He's gonna backstab you. So kind of keeping these same tropes going, but pretty solid promo here to start the show. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty great too. I mean, really could just kind of set the stage for what kind of came up at the end, kind of was just sort of a great bookend just to kind of, really just kind of kickstart the drama in the story of this show.
And Riddle made his way out as the bloodline was seemingly about to attack KO and Sammy, which, yes, like you said, set up the main event and it sets up some future action between these few as well. But yeah, I'll wait till we get to the actual match announcement for that. But yeah, solid promo here to start. And I've got this up on the other computer. But okay, then we get to our first match, which was Xavier Woods picking up a bit of an upset win over, LA Knight in 11 minutes, 45 seconds. Yeah. LA Knight's fucking great. And Xavier Woods is so underrated and awesome. And I feel like I haven't seen him a ton lately. I don't remember if he was hurt, but I know Big E's been hurt, obviously. Kofi's been out, and I don't watch SmackDown like the whole show often, but I feel like I hadn't seen him in, a big, call it a big singles match, not huge, but a featured match here against a guy that's clearly being pushed and on the come up, and guy that Triple H, which who the hell knows who's running this shit show, is apparently very high on in LA Knight.
Right.
But Xavier Woods I'm not going to call it a fluke win. I think it was a smart win. He took advantage with the O'Connor roll as LA Knight was trying to cheat by rolling him up with the tights. I thought it was a very clever finish and just a rock solid opener to start this show.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great. And it was, LA Knight's got it. I don't know. He's just really fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally oozing with charisma. The guy, he is, I think WWE is like, that's where this guy should be. He's got that personality, like where you could see him in the main event in the future, opening a Raw or a SmackDown, closing it. Like, I think, I like that they're kind of taking their time with him. And I'm not mad about Xavier getting this W because that set something up for him later in this show. But sooner than later, I think our boy, LA Knight has got to start picking up some W's and getting him in some bigger feuds.
What was his NXT name again? I was trying to think of it when I was watching it.
It was LA. No, so he became LA Knight in WWE, but his name was Eli Drake.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I was trying to think.
Impact and NWA.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to think of that, and I just could not remember.
Which I was on the record. I think we both were of hating the name LA Knight. It's grown on me, and I mean, it definitely fits. I think he's grown into this character, this name, what have you. But
a lot more WWE, and I think like he has a higher ceiling with that name and character than he has with the Eli Drake one.
Yeah, I'm okay with it now. But yeah, he's a special talent for sure, and he's definitely done a lot of work with our boy David Marquez, and he actually mentioned him like before you were walking in, and there was some yes in the crowd. But yeah, he's the man, and I feel like the crowd on this show was pretty hot the whole night. Like this one, and then the Priest Santos match, especially hot for that one. I felt like, but yeah, good action here for sure.
Yes.
They mentioned the draft is coming up, and
when is that?
So it begins 2 weeks from this past SmackDown, and then continues on the following Raw. So this will be right before Backlash. I would have thought it would have been after, and you kind of reset after that. But yeah, a lot of changes going to be coming here to the rosters. Good time for a shakeup. Be interesting to see if we've talked about a little bit on this show. I have more on others. The potential split of the Street Profits between Dawkins and Montez Ford. I hope they don't split them, but that would not surprise me. It'd be interesting to see, like with Sammy and KO, as the tag team champs. They have both sets of belts. Like they're going to be on both shows, but it'll be interesting to see like if they get split.
Right.
But yeah, excited to see this.
Yes.
And Triple H has on the record saying it's gonna be the best draft ever. And it sound like Vince. Fuck.
Yeah.
But
a little bit more subdued. Like
he's really running it, I guess. Anywho, so yeah, it was right after this. We had it pretty much immediately. We had the Imperium boys backstage, and in comes Xavier.
No, that was funny.
Yeah, they did not take too kindly.
No. They don't
trombone.
They don't like trombones,
which used to be
named, big band or swing music.
The trombone. This was many years ago when he first started using it. He named it Francesca.
Oh, really?
And then when it got destroyed, he had Francesca too. So I'm just gonna call it Francesca. But Gunther
who destroyed it?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember, but it was definitely a thing.
Yeah.
But Gunther was so pissed off that he agreed to give Woods a shot at the Intercontinental title. And I was surprised that Woods said it was his first shot at that belt. Again, mostly a tag team guy. Did win King of the Ring a few years ago, but he's awesome. I said it earlier. So underrated, so entertaining. Gunther's going to beat his ass, but I think Xavier will, put on a good show. Hopefully he'll get a few near falls. I don't think it'll be a squash. But Gunther's going to win decisively probably, but hey, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Are you?
I am. I think anything with Gunther in it's great.
Oh yeah. Okay. So they had the Judgment Day. We're backstage with Kayla Braxton, and then they came out, and Priest talked about Bad Bunny, who's going to be the host. Ross, quit drinking my water.
See you there.
I'm going to titty flick him. He wasn't, but he was about to.
With his cataracts.
Yeah, he's so cashed. But Backlash coming up, I think it's May 2nd in Puerto Rico, hosted by Bad Bunny. Priest already talking some shit. Let's remember that those two actually teamed together. Remember when Bad Bunny wrestled, it was Bad Bunny and Priest, I believe, against Miz and John Morrison. So now they're this is all building to Priest and Dominic against Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny at Backlash. That's definitely what's happening here, and it'll be awesome. I'm sure it'll be awesome because Bad Bunny
is cool.
Was great the first time, and he's been getting in the action. He got beat up a little bit. I think it was either the Raw after Mania or this past week. But the guy can work. It's going to be exciting. But this was all his promo was basically setting up for that. And yeah, then we had the match, the aforementioned match between Damian Priest defeating Santos Escobar in 11 minutes and 35 seconds. In another very fun,
this is really
back
exciting,
and forth, hot,
very dramatic.
crowd.
Like lots of people come flying in and out.
Lots of near falls down the stretch. Yeah, I went 4 stars on this match. I had a blast with it. Interesting for me to see Santos in the face role because back when he was King Cuerno in Lucha Underground and his whole time as Santos in NXT and on the main roster, he's been heel, but the guy's awesome. He's going to be great at this. I love the reformation of the LWO back from 98 WCW days, rocking the same shirts and everything. Big fan of that.
Yeah, very, very big old school kind of vibe with that. Yeah.
And those guys got involved. Dominic, I can't remember if Finn Balor was there. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was, no.
Dominic and Rhea, she got involved. But yeah, a lot of chaos going around. And yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah, no, I thought this was a whole lot of fun. Like a great kind of just centerpiece. I thought, just like kind of lots like any sort of Judgment Day thing, it just has that extra just injection of excitement. There's just like an intense lot.
Yeah,
I feel like, like even Dominic, like I feel like they've made Dominic just.
Well, he did go to prison.
He did go to prison, but I mean, they still made him seem like more formidable.
Yeah,
like this was totally the right move for his character, I think.
No doubt. And then after the match, we had Priest attempting to put Escobar through the table, but Ray came down and he gave Dominic the head scissors into the near 619 setup, but he was saved by Priest and Rhea. But yeah, I think it's clear as day where we're headed here, and it's exciting. I think Backlash is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we had the Bloodline in the locker room. This was interesting because Solo Sikoa rarely talks, and he was very firm here. Heyman had said he got a message from Roman saying that when Riddle, Zayn, and Owens embarrass them, they embarrass the entire Bloodline. And Heyman was starting to talk, and Solo cut him off, and he's like, I got this. I got this. Hey, motherfucker, I got this. So yeah, I really like that. That little.
I think you should show more respect to Paul Heyman,
the wise man.
The wise man, yeah.
But I love how they've built up Solo. Satake, is that it?
Satake, yeah, Solo Satake.
He's the enforcer. He doesn't need to talk, but when he talks, it matters. And
he's their cousin, right? Or no, he's the other.
He's another brother, yeah.
Brother, yeah.
And I believe there's another one, or maybe there's a younger one that's like, I don't think he's in wrestling, but I saw like a picture of him, and he's just fucking huge. So
and this is all kayfabe. Is this kayfabe brothers or like real life?
No, they're real brothers.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah, the Usos and Solo are real brothers. Yes, and their father is Rikishi.
And then are Jay and Jimmy twins?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right.
Yep. So next we have the women's tag team champs of Liv Morgan and Smiley Raquel Gonzalez or Rodriguez. I still always want to call her Raquel Gonzalez. Yeah. I still don't know why they fucking changed that, but it's Rodriguez. Damn it. But yeah, they came out, and Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green quickly came out and talking about how they basically bullied the manager, Adam Pearson, to giving them a match. Not a whole lot here, but I like Chelsea Green. I think Sonya's fine too. So yeah, fine set of first challengers here.
Yeah. No, I'm honestly not super familiar with this storyline.
I think it's just this was kind of the start of it.
Oh, really? This is the beginning of it. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, this is sort of the one part of it. Of the show, I was just kind of like, what? And the rest of it, I kind of was able to trace from WrestleMania and the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but both these teams were in that like 4-way tag fuck fest.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. And the women's tag titles have long been marred by fans. So, Liv and Raquel are both great. So, maybe they'll have a nice little run with them. Who knows? Okay, then they showed. What do you think about this when they showed Matt Rule? Go Big Red or whatever. Did
Yeah,
you?
that was embarrassing.
Hilarious because they like went down the line and showed Husker football players, and they cut to Matt Rule, and he was saying like "Go Big Red" or something like that.
He just thought he's like, I got to go on SmackDown. That's gonna convince recruits to come here. And well, especially with Nebraska football, with how they've kind of been suffering.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are the Carolina Panthers as a result.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the return of Shinsuke Nakamura, and I really got a nice hoot out of Emma, really talking up Madcap Moss in the back, saying like you're gonna be one of them saying top draft pick, you got to win this match.
Nope,
and
pretty quick.
Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Madcap Moss in a minute 30.
Yep, squashy squash.
I love it in the sense that Nakamura's been gone for a while. I don't think he's been hurt because he wrestled Keiji Muto in the Tokyo Dome in January. But he'd been off TV for a long time. Guy for many, many years in WWE has not been used great on the main roster. Hopefully, if Triple H is still running this shit, hopefully we start to get Nakamura a bit of a push. At least just get him some good fucking competition here.
Yeah.
And there is something later on, or is it right after this match? I can't even.
Is it a broom?
It was okay. So it was right after this. Moss tried to attack him and then got put in the armbar. So he just got embarrassed. But it came up. Scarlett had like a tarot card with Nakamura on it, and Karrion Kross popped in and said, "TikTok." That's his thing. Not a Cross fan. Never really have been. I hope Nakamura goes over him for the love of God.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to be happy if he jobs out to Karrion Kross.
No, that would be Barf-zilla.
Barf? Okay. Then there was Braun Strowman and Ricochet walking backstage, and they got fucked up by the Viking Raiders.
They did. Yeah, they got put on the Viking cruise.
They sure did. What was that from?
No. That was from the Switch one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that somewhat recently, but okay, so just before the main event, we did have a pretty interesting Paul Heyman promo talking about so he brought up that in 2 weeks on SmackDown, which will be the first night of the draft, so they're trying to make that a bigger show. We will have the rematch for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships between I was about to say Cammy again, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against the Usos, which to me means Backlash will likely be those two and Riddle against the Usos and Solo. I think, they're probably going to keep Reigns away for a little bit at this point. So that'll be great, I'm sure. And I'm positive this rematch is going to be great again as well. But I want to bring something up. What do you think the chances are that the Usos get them back?
Sorry. That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, like I could see it happening, but like I don't know. I don't know if they're going to want to revert all the way back to like where the bloodline just has all these titles. I think even though like Roman sort of kept the undisputed, like I think you got to like try to move forward from this and not backward like that. Because I don't think you want to hot potato it. So I wouldn't say less than 50%.
I think so too, but I was just kind of thinking like, we all kind of assumed that WrestleMania was going to be like the ultimate crumbling of the bloodline, but that obviously didn't happen. So, like you said, Roman's still on top. He's threatening them essentially. So let me continue, basically saying that Kevin and Sami will lose because the tribal chief is losing patience with the two of you. And he said it from behind the Usos and really gave them like a menacing look that they did not see. And the way they took it, it seemed like he meant Kevin and Sami. So I loved that little touch there. So again, I think there's a chance for sure that they get him back. And you kind of get the bloodline back on top. I don't necessarily want to see it because I think the more interesting story would be, okay, if Roman Reigns is losing patience with those two, what's going to happen? As opposed to, like you said, just putting them back on top and
just going
business
back
as
there.
usual.
No, I think that's definitely, I don't think you can go backwards.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me, but yeah, I don't like that. So, but I think it's possible. I think it'll be a great match, and I'm excited to see it. And then again, you'll have Backlash that following week with this presumed 6-man, which, if they, let's just say hypothetically, Kevin and Sammy retain, they could lose. Like that 6-man would be a way for them to get back in the good graces of Roman Reigns if they win that match. So that's kind of where my head's at right now. They keep the tag titles, and then the bloodline goes over at Backlash. But okay, so the main event saw Solo Sitake defeat Matt Riddle in 10 minutes 50 seconds. Another just damn solid match. I would say the opener and close were both like 3.5-star matches, and I had the Santos Priest at 4. So for a 2-hour television show,
this was solid.
It's WWE, some just high quality work going on here. But like I said, good to see Riddle back. Solo again continues to impress every time, and I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, no, I feel like, especially seeing Riddle back, he was on offense a whole lot, I thought.
For
you
sure.
could just see how just agile he is. And I mean, he's great to have back. He's a whole lot of fun, But I mean, I think, Solo Sitake just kind of got the best of him, pulled it out there at the end. And, like good result, though. Good result for Max drama and story stuff, to kind of keep this bloodline stuff interesting. Because as you said, if they're going to keep Reigns away from it for a while, this is where you got to kind of do the work, and this is where you got to kind of push the ball along, even if it's foot by foot as opposed to yard by yard. And this was kind of one of those moments where I think it just sort of moved forward because you're gonna have just sort of a big fun back and forth with these with Sitake and the Usos, and then Owen, Sami Zayn, and then Riddle. Like if this is going to be kind of your headlining thing, I mean, and do you not think Roman will be fighting at Backlash?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so if this is going to be your big thing, like you might as well just give it as much intrigue as you can, and this result gave it the max amount of intrigue that it could.
Yeah, and Riddle was distracted by the Usos, and he did that dive onto him on the outside. Popped back in and was met with a super kick and the Samoan spike. So the distraction led to it. And then after the match, Solo was tried to put Riddle through the table that did not break. Then he put the table on him, and then Kevin and Sammy out for the save. So like you said, really keeping this storyline hot. But a nice solid episode of SmackDown. Raw was pretty good this past week as well after the dog shit Raw after WrestleMania, which is the only show that Vince has been at since WrestleMania. So surprise. I don't know about tonight if he's there. It'll probably be news every night whether Vince is there or not these days. But any I guess because since you didn't really talk, or since you didn't really see Dynamite,
I thought the Derby, from what I saw, the Derby sword match was a whole lot of fun.
It was excellent. It was excellent.
Yeah, I passed up before it was over and did not get much of the promo, but from what I watched, it was pretty par for the course for those guys, and really good to see Derby getting some matches, obviously ramping up to this 4 pillars stuff that they're going to be doing.
Which has been very good. But and he and Swerve have tons of history on the indies. They're both from the Seattle area. But the promo after it was, so they've kind of been doing this where he had the Jungle Boy like kind of one-on-one promo. Now the Derby, I'm sure there'll be something with Sam, because they had all the stuff together. And now Max one-on-one with each. But what made this one so interesting is Sting came out, and he was awesome, and he brought up Cody by name multiple times, which is hasn't happened too much recently, because he was basically, Max was ripping on Darby for having Sting as his daddy. And basically Sting is like, well, you were part of Cody. I can't remember if he called it Camp Cody or Cody Daycare or something like that, but he said Cody multiple times.
Wow.
Because MJF was on screen and off, like Cody was kind of a mentor for him. So yeah, that was very interesting as well. Trying to think off the top of my head of anything else super noteworthy. Orange had a great match with Buddy Matthews.
Nice.
Really selling he had a hand injury that he was really selling. So
was it a title match?
Yeah. So he defended yet again. And then he wrestled Gabriel Kidd on New Japan yesterday, made his New Japan debut. Haven't seen it yet. I assume he won. So he's up to probably like 16 or 17 title defenses.
Right. Yeah. Just clocking them in. Yeoman's work.
Yes. More BCC, elite stuff. Yeah. So Nakazawa and Cutler, the Stooges, so to speak, actually put up a bit of a fight. I mean, I thought it would be like a 30-second squash. It went like 3-something minutes. They both got bloodied and battered, but kind of looked badass as a result.
Yeah.
And the Bucks ended up returning after that as well because they'd been out
from the hospital.
Yeah. And when Matt had a legit like triceps injury.
So they're really, because I didn't know if they were really hurt or if it was just
Matt really did have an injury. It wasn't like a tear. So I mean, and the fact that he's back already, presumably it wasn't. I mean, not that it's not serious, but it could have been much, much worse.
Right.
They're probably not, or he's probably not cleared to wrestle quite yet. But yeah, so that storyline continues to be awesome and will continue to be more and more fascinating, especially as the Kenny Hangman. I mean, they're going to make up at some point, and it's going to be a big moment. So, but yeah, good shit. I think that just about wraps her up for this week, huh?
Yeah, shit does.
Do you have anything else? I guess next, don't know when yet, but we will be hopefully having the Dead Ringer Aaron Williams on probably for next episode.
Yeah. I think that'd be pretty tight.
As mentioned, some BBB narrative stuff on the way. We're going to be getting in the lab this week. That's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll be sitting down working on it. Yeah. No, yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good to kind of get to work on that because had some other writing obligations now, got those out of the way. So should have a cleaner slate to do it this week. So
hell yeah.
Yes. Never
say this, but follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Brainbuster Boys, YouTube, as you can find us now.
Check out Derby City Wrestling.
Yes.
If you're in the local area on
and Wrestle Arts, obviously, our boys over there. If you're in the indie area,
definitely gotta throw that up. So yeah, love indie shows. I'm glad we're kind of dipping your toe into that.
Big time.
Yeah.
Okay. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Oh,
Lord.